Hey everybody. Just continuing on here today with the last 3 volumes of the histories of Middle-earth. And this is volume 10 of the Histories of Middle-earth by Christopher Tolkien, and it is entitled Morgoth's Ring. This name is not just given out of an idle fancy. The name Morgoth's Ring relates also to as what we think of as Sauron's ring. Sauron is of the same order as Gandalf. He's one of the Maiar, which is an order below the Valar, and and basically, or the Ainur, and basically Sauron concentrated all of his power into the One Ring. Morgoth concentrated his power into the very matter of Arda and all of its substance. So even when he was cast beyond the doors of night, his evil still lingered in the world. When Sauron was destroyed, that was it pretty much for him. But Morgoth, even in the Third Age when the ring was destroyed, his evil still lingered on. He's basically the equivalent of the devil in our day and age, or in our universe. So that's really the ring. Morgoth's ring is actually another name for Arda, in a sense. So it is entitled The Later Silmarillion, Part 1. And the reason it's called The Later Silmarillion was because the previous 4 volumes is where Tolkien started developing the Lord of the Rings, what continued on after the Hobbit. And Tolkien, they do have some evidence that, or Christopher Tolkien did find some evidence that he turned back to the Elder Days, which is what he loved before the Lord of the Rings was finished. Primarily around the time that the Return of the King was just begun, he turned back to the music of the Ainur, the Ainulindalë. But, you know, of course, he did finish Return of the King. But after that was done, Christopher Tolkien noted that his father returned with enormous amounts of energy back to the Elder Days. And that, I believe, is what Tolkien really loved the best working on, was, you know, like these regions. And this is, I took this map out of the Silmarillion. I found that I had better use for it out of the book. But because I like to look at it a lot, and I'm not really a big fan of it connecting to the book in that way. But up here also I have where the land continues on Hithlum. You can't really see it, but you all know, if you're familiar with the maps, it continues around here, which is like you see it there. But it continues on up here, and this is the Atlas of Middle-earth, by the way, the first edition. And the second edition is better. It's updated, and you have Angband up here, and Thangorodrim, the 3 peaks. You can see that. So and the Iron Mountains as well. And let's see. Oh, and if you didn't know, it also mentions this book is all about Morgoth. Like almost every aspect of it has to do with something about Melkor Morgoth. And it's really cool. Lambeth, if you guys didn't know, that that is where Ungoliant had him in bonds, and he gave out like a mighty roar. And it is said that if there's ever like a loud noise in that land, it awakens his yell of anguish from long ago still. But that's underwater nowadays. So, okay, let's take a look inside of Morgoth's Ring and see what we got here. So, this is my favorite one out of the Histories of Middle-earth. It's got some very cool stuff in it. You guys can pause the video and read this if you want. It's got the Annals of Aman, the Blessed Land, and it's also got the Debate of Finrod and Andreth, which is really cool. It's reproduced here in full, and And yeah, like I was saying earlier, above all, Christopher Tolkien writes in his foreword, the power and significance of Melkor Morgoth was enlarged to become the ground and source of the corruption of Arda. This book is indeed all about Morgoth, just as I was saying, incomparably greater than the power of Sauron concentrated in the One Ring. Morgoth's power, Tolkien wrote, is dispersed into the very matter of Arda. The whole of Middle-earth was Morgoth's ring. So a fitting name. So let's open it up. Morgoth's ring, my favorite one. The later Silmarillion, Part 1. This is when Tolkien began to turn back to the Silmarillion, and Morgoth's ring is the first part that Christopher Tolkien writes about. The second part that concludes it is the War of the Jewels, which I will be doing a review of next. And it's got the full Legends of Aman. So we see the Ainulindalë. That is pretty much the music of the Ainur. It's when the Ainur gathered around Eru Ilúvatar in the very, very beginnings, far beyond a count of measure of time that we can comprehend, was when they sang before him, and from what they sang, history was woven. Their tone, their very tone that they sung, that shaped the future and fortunes of many. And when Melkor interweaved matters of his own, that is when chaos, as we see in the Silmarillion, that broke out later on, like the wars and everything. That is when Melkor disrupted the flow of the music, and he sought to bring into being things of his own, and he put that into his part of the music that was assigned to him. And so basically what I'm trying to say is that the music they created is history. The very tone would be, if it was a peaceful tone, it was a peaceful time. If it was, like Tolkien writes, raging seas, it was a horrible, horrible part in history that would play later on. And Tolkien writes that he showed into the Ainur a vision of what they had created, and they saw many things they didn't comprehend, and they knew many things that are and were that would come to be, but it is said that only Ilúvatar himself knew of the entire of the matter. So yeah, that's basically the Ainulindalë, and that's when we read about Melkor. He turns to his evil uses, and it's even said that he sought in the void long for but in vain for the flame imperishable. But it is said that Ildor holds that with himself, so Melkor could never find it. And that's a really, really cool part. The Ainulindalë is one of my favorite stories, just because it has that ancientness to it, even beyond, way beyond what you read here about even the two trees which are referenced in the Lord of the Rings at the end of book 3 in the Two Towers. Gandalf talking to Pippin, he's talking about it's been so long ago it couldn't be accounted for in years. And then you think about this, the Ainulindalë, the beginnings, it's mind-blowing. So, but there are references given to certain number of years that Tolkien wrote about, and Christopher Tolkien has written them down in the histories of Middle-earth. In volume 4, I believe, The Shaping of Middle-earth, there's a lot of accounts of what the Ainur did and such. In a matter of years, well, listed in years. So then we have part 2, the Annals of Aman, and it's similar to the Annals of Valinor and the Annals of Beleriand in earlier volumes of the history of Middle-earth, but this is written in full. You know, you almost have 100 pages worth of information. And then you have the later Quinta Silmarillion, part 3. And we look at the first phase and the second phase, and you have a Valinor, the two trees, the coming of elves, Thingol and Melian, the Maya, and just a lot of cool stuff in here. The process of it, the Ainu Lindali. There's a transcript. It's B, C, and C asterisk, and the C asterisk has, I think, pretty much closely to what came in the published one that Christopher Tolkien has here. And then we had the laws and customs of the Eldar, which is interesting. Of the Silmarils and the unrest of Noldor, the darkening of Valinor, the rape of the Silmarils whenever Melkor took them for his own, and then of the thieves' quarrel. And then that pretty much ends Morgoth's ring with the published Silmarillion, the half of it that we know. The rest of it will be the rest of the Silmarillion that we know. And then we have Atharabeth, Finrod, Andreth. That's the debate between Finrod and Andreth. It's got a lot of interesting things in there pertaining to life that these two talk about between them, especially the theme of death. And a lot of people have written reviews on this book, like on Goodreads. Many of them mention part 4, in that it's really eye-opening that it pertains to, not just Tolkien's universe, but even people can use what he wrote in a way to get a better sense of life and what death means. Then you have part 5, myths transformed, and then we had the synopsis of the text, and then of course the index. But the foreword here was written by Christopher Tolkien, just explaining a lot of things that about getting his hands on a lot of the material by his father. And it goes on to say here, to the very matter of Arda, the whole of Middle Earth was Morgoth's ring. So yes, this book is all about Melkor, especially the later chapters here. The rape of the Silmarils had primarily to the main character throughout that chapter, even in the published Silmarillion, was Morgoth, and Ungoliant comes into play as well. So yeah, that's pretty much Morgoth's ring. Next will be the War of the Jewels, and so yeah, that wraps that one up. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope these reviews will give you a better insight to what's inside these books. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.